Welcome back to Roto Moto. My name is Donnie. In this video, I will cover 5 riders I want you to look at when making your PulpMX fantasy picks for Budds Creek, tips for picking the FFL, the weather report, a race day schedule, and an early look at what my team could be come Saturday. But first, let's take a moment to recap what went down last weekend at Unadilla. After a single week's uptick, we are back on the declining track of players with our biggest dip in players since week 3, down 9% of total players and almost 8% of the Championship League player base. Collectively, that means we've lost almost 4 out of every 10 players that played the first week, and half that many from the paid league. The perfect team is exactly the same as last week at 604, led by 3 250 riders with very low pick trends, with Kilroy, Varese, and Harrington, and 2 450 guys, Schock and Kessler, that led the class in both points and pick trend. The popular team was below 400 for the 4th time this season, and big thanks to the big fat zeros of Pierce Brown and Aaron Plessinger. FFL was as predictable as ever, but despite a clear-cut favorite in each class, the amount of people opting to gamble still relatively low at just 39 and 32% respectively. Justin Cooper had both FFLs, something 8 out of 9 gamblers guessed, and the HRC team swept the 450 class, rewarding 71% of pickers. The median championship score dipped just below 400, again at 398, meaning if you scored at least 399 points or more, you did better than half of the paying field. All-Stars per team fell to another season low at just 2.34 All-Star selections per team, and double point eligible riders were just about statistically average this week at 31, scoring 44 points or more. Pierce Brown and Garrett Marchbanks led the class of double eligible riders, failing to score double points in each moto, and that makes the PulpMX rider a great one to look at for Budds. My team was decent. I was looking at 500-point weekend with just minutes to go in the final moto before Shimoda, Brown, and Hammaker all took their own dives, leaving me with 417 thanks to a great 450 class and Cooper being ever reliable in the FFL race. The Roto Moto League has another first-timer on top of the week with Deek 976 bringing 546 points home, nailing the highest score in each class and perfect all-stars despite passing on both FFLs. And we have a new face at the top of the season leaderboard. Mikulinik 288 holds a single-digit lead over second, but only third is within 50 points with only 4 races to go. The 450 side of the injury report does not change, with Justin Barcia continuing to sit out to recover, but the 250 side continues to grow. Pierce Brown joins Barcia and teammate Michael Mosman on the mend as the entire TLD Gas squad is out for Budds Creek. Alex Martin announced he will miss the rest of the season to fix his nagging wrist injury, a huge blow to the fan favorite. Derek Kelly suffered a concussion in the first moto at Unadilla and will miss at least 1 race, and high handicap hero favorite Rami Alves' shoulder popped out when landing and tore his labrum, which will cause him to miss the remainder of the season. Be sure to confirm that a rider is on the cheat sheets before putting them on your team, and for an even easier time, you can check a little box when selecting your team that says only show riders in AMA qualifying results to, you guessed it, only show guys that have put down a lap time. It will still show you guys that could have crashed out or had some other issue after qualifying, but it is better than nothing. All right, onto your picks for the 2021 Budds Creek National. I have 3 guys to target, 1 to avoid, and a high handicap guy to look at for you gamblers out there, starting with the little class and working our way up. Colt Nichols remains an all-star despite missing a round, meaning you only have 7 options at all-star. And with Shimoda beat up, it's likely you're down to the other 6. I'm going for Jeremy Martin. I have held off picking him since his return because of my concern about his injuries, but he's been nothing but a podium machine as of late, landing on the podium in every single moto in the last 6, and guess what? Another double podium finish would land you a cool 50 points. With Cooper and Jet locked in a tight fight for the points lead, I like Jeremy's chances for another easy podium. A double point eligible rider that you want to take a look at this week is Jammin' Joshua Varese. The rookie privateer is sitting with a 9 handicap, and at first glance that feels just with his 19.8 average finish. But Varese is coming off the back of his career best 14-13 finish at Unadilla, and if you remove his 2 DNF finishes, that drops his average finish to a pretty hot 17.1. Moving on to the 450 class, an all-star to take a look at is Marvin Muskin. Marv finally seems to be finding his form later in the season, with 4 straight motos in the top 5, and with a bit of rain in the forecast, at least leading up to the race, the conditions should favor him as well. He's finished on the podium in every single season. He's raced the 450 at Budds, not to mention his overall victory in his last 250 race here, a complete and total mutter. The rider I want you to tread lightly with this week is a 450 rider with double points eligibility. Justin Bogle is coming off his best finish of the season with a 9-12 finish at Unadilla, but unfortunately, even if he matches that again, it is just not worth the risk. Another 9-12 with a 3 handicap would only bring home 54 points, but Bogle's average finish is just 14.6, and he's failed to finish in the top 13 in 10 out of 16 motos, meaning he has a bundle of risk, but not enough upside to carry it. The Pirelli Tyre high handicap hero of the round, given to a rider with a handicap of 10 or more that I think has a realistic chance to score massive points this weekend if you're the type of person that likes to sweat out 2 30-minute motos for a big payout. This week's choice is going to privateer hero Ben LeMay and his 10 handicap. Ben is lined up for all 16 motos this season, and an average finish of 23rd doesn't inspire a lot of faith, but that's mostly inflated by a lot of tough luck in those first 6 motos, as his last 10 gate drops have seen him finish an average of 18th, with 3 of his last 6 motos being inside the top 15. The FFL picture stays exactly the same in the 250s. It's Justin Cooper or bust, as he has 10 and only 16 motos, the only guy with more than 2. Don't get cute here. Just take the easy points or play it safe with nobody. The 450 is shaping up straight in the past few weeks. Ken Roczen has 6 and 3 in the last 4 weeks, and his HRC Honda teammate Chase Sexton also has 2, 1 each in the last 2 weeks. I think these are the choices to target if you're feeling frisky, but it's also still a pretty big gamble compared to Cooper's dominance in the 250 class. The weather could prove interesting in Maryland this weekend. It's likely to be wet and wild Friday and potentially overnight, but the track crew will no doubt have it sealed to prevent that from being a slop fest. But there's nothing they can do once the racing starts, and we have a lot of opportunity for weather to play the wild card. If it shapes up that way, and it does look like it's gonna be sloppy, be sure to take guys that have resources to make repairs between the motos. And anyone with GP or off-roadist experience that are up to the task are a huge plus. The schedule is more of the same for 2021 with a lot of East Coast rounds. Qualifying begins at 10 a.m. and you can catch all of the action on the Peacock app. Patreon supporters will enjoy the enhanced cheat sheet immediately following each qualifying session, and the more simple public cheat sheet will be available on Twitter and Instagram around noon, about an hour before the first gate drop. Before I show you my early team for Budds Creek, I just want to take a moment to talk about this video's sponsor. I'm excited to announce that Pirelli Tyre is back with Roto Moto for another 2021 race weekend. Pirelli remains dedicated to the grassroots part of the sport with their "We sell what we race what we sell" motto, providing you access to the very same Scorpion MX tire used by their professional racing teams, including world champions such as Tim Geiser and Jeffrey Hurlings, as well as the Bar X Suzuki's Preston Kilroy, who was the highest scorer in the 250 class last weekend in his 2021 debut. This approach has allowed Pirelli to place its research and development focus on motocross, benefiting the everyday rider when they take it to their local racetrack. All right, my Thursday night team looks like this. I have Jeremy Martin as my 250 All-Star with a 2 handicap and a 6-race podium streak. Garrett Marchbanks with a hope he can bounce back to his early season form with a lofty 5 handicap. Josh Fariz is 9 coming off his career best at Unadilla, and I currently have Ty Masterpole penciled in with a 5 handicap as my specialist in case it ends up sloppy. My 450 team is a little safer than usual. Chase Sexton's 4 handicap might not have the best shot at 50, but he has proven time and again that even a first turn pileup will not lead to a bad day. Joey Savacci at a 2 after a season best moto of 6th. Ben LeMay's 10 handicap with a top 15 potential, and my last spot is currently reserved for Max Anstey, another guy that could turn a good start and sloppy conditions into a season high finish. Justin Cooper is already locked in as the FFL in the 250 class, and I am planning on sitting out the 450s. Don't forget to follow at RotoMoto on Twitter and Instagram for qualifying insights, injury updates, stats and banner as the race goes on, and of course, those ever-important fantasy cheat sheets. And if you want even more help making your picks, be sure to check out and subscribe to Roto Moto on Patreon for access to the enhanced cheat sheets chock full of more data than you can imagine to help make those huge point picks. I want to give a shout out to the current Patreon supporters. This channel is made possible by good people like first-time subscriber Jack of Hearts, as well as longtime supporters Dane E, Jason S, and His Majesty Travis Marks. Thanks as always for watching Roto Moto. My name is Donnie, and I will see you on race day.